And these gloves probably aren't helping matters. Sorry, Monique. Car obsession has been going for 5 years now, and in that time I've been lucky enough to drive some impressive, exciting machinery. Sadly though, the price tag is usually equally impressive, but fear not, as you don't have to break the bank to have fun on 4 wheels. That is exactly what I'm proving in this series, Cheap Thrills. We kick off with a car that needs very little introduction, the Mazda MX-5. You'll have to excuse the sunglasses, it is very sunny and it makes me look cool. Plus, I've got quite bad hay fever, so it stops some of the pollen getting into my eyes. And before you comment on the driving gloves are cool, I don't care what you say. Look at Steve McQueen, Ryan Gosling in Drive, and Alan Partridge.
Tan stringback driving gloves. It's a look that says, I'm in control of my vehicle.
No, wait, forget about that last one. By the way, guys, it is that time. I am going to do another shameless, cheeky plug for my merch. So I'm wearing one of the t-shirts right now. Pop-ups enabled because, there we go, pop-ups enabled. If you want to check out the range or any other t-shirts in the range, then go to controlandshift.com and the link will be in the video description below. The MX-5 has got the engine at the front, the driver in the middle, and power fed to the rear. Winning combination. Another MX-5. Got a thumbs up, yes. This car also has a 50-50 weight distribution, and to help with that, the battery is actually located in the boot, which can catch you off guard when you need a jump start. You've got a chassis that pivots around your hips and a 5-speed manual gearbox that offers a change, which gives you an impression of what it would be like to shake hands with God himself. It is superb. Fun fact for you, Caterhams use MX-5 gearboxes. There we are, little bit of knowledge for you. In this car, is either a 1.6 litre engine or a 1.8, both of which are naturally aspirated and of course petrol. I've got the 1.8 and I prefer that because it offers a bit more grunt. There are some that prefer the 1.6 because it revs more freely, but I've owned one of those and in my opinion it is a little bit gutless. Speaking of owning MX-5s, regular viewers will of course know that this is my very own MX-5. Monique is her name, and technically speaking she is a Eunos Roadster, so she is a Japanese import. Okay, so it's no secret that MX-5 is lacking power, at least in standard form. These are popular cars amongst modifiers, and it isn't uncommon to find turbocharged examples or supercharged examples. You can even find some with a V6 or even a V8. In fact, I think somewhere on the internet there is someone crazy enough to try and put a V10 in one of these. Crazy people. Just think of the weight. Although, think of the power. The MX-5 has never been about power though. It's been about the driving sensation, the balance, the poise and all that stuff. One of the biggest appeals of the MX-5 is of course you're going to have the top down and open yourself to the elements, which is perfect for a day like today. The MX-5 was built for these kind of drives. A nice Sunday morning drive in the country. Just having a good old blast. However, if you shop around, you can find examples with a hard top, and those alone are worth about £500 if they're in a decent condition. Whilst you're shopping around, I would urge you to get an MX-5 with a limited slip differential. This car has got both. Obviously, the hardtop isn't on right now because it would be criminal to waste this day by having the hardtop on. As well as the hardtop and the limited slip diff, Monique does have a few other goodies as well, courtesy of the aftermarket. So I've got a Momo steering wheel, although she did come standard with a different Momo steering wheel. I've got Gaz Gold Pro coilovers, a TR Lane roll bar, EPC green stuff pads and discs. What else? The cobalt exhaust, which you can hear in all of its glory. I've also got a Sony head unit as well, which has got Bluetooth, which is nice. It gives you a bit of a mod con, which is most welcome because Monique is over 2 decades old. That is madness to say. She was produced all the way back in 1998, when I would have been, well, I would have been 8 years old then. That feels like a long time ago now. The power is most definitely modest. When this 1.8 litre engine was brand new, it would have been kicking out around 135 horsepower, but that was over 2 decades ago, so some of those horses may have escaped. The 0 to 62 time in this is modest. You're looking at about 8 seconds, but as I've said earlier, the MX-5 isn't about power, and you don't need to have a lot of power to have a good time. This car is proof of that. You've got that noise, you've got that naturally aspirated sensation of chasing those revs to the red line. And of course, you've got the roof down. What more do you want or need on a day like today? Please tell me. I would love to know. Because hand on heart, right here, right now, there's not many other cars I can think of that I'd rather be driving. This seat, right here, this is my happy place. This is my escape from the real world, the nitty gritty. Speaking of the nitty gritty, so let's talk budget. £5,000, what can you expect? Well, you can get a Mark 1 in that budget, you can get a Mark 2 and a Mark 2.5, and you can even get a Mark 3 if you're that way inclined. The Mark 3 isn't the most popular MX-5. I can't really pass judgment because I've not driven one. Well, I have, although it was a very brief drive and it was an automatic, so yeah, not my cup of tea. I paid, from memory, about, I think it was 2,800 for Monique, and you know what? I think that is the best £2,800 I have ever spent or am likely to spend. If you're after a bit of a project or a bit of a restoration or a doer-upper, then you can pick them up for £1,000, less than £1,000 sometimes. But just be prepared, it will be a model that will need work. But £5,000 is, oh, that's a stone hitting the car, I think. £5,000 is a very good budget for this car, in my opinion. And if you want something that's already had a few mods to it, again, you may be able to get something in budget. Well, you can. This had a few mods when I bought it, and like I say, I got it for under £3,000. I think about how dependable, reliable, and, well, I was going to say loyal. That seems like a silly thing to say. She's not a dog, but what I mean is, she's been as good as gold for me. So I would argue I paid a good price. This car may be older now, but parts for it are still readily available because they are so popular. The parts aren't that expensive either. In regard to maintenance, Monique hasn't cost me a great deal, touch wood. I've owned her for, I think, over 2 years now, although it feels like a lifetime, in a good way. And in that time, what have I had to do? Replace the alternator belt, replace the offside front brake caliper because it had seized, and other than that, just general maintenance work, such as servicing and a cam belt. So Monique has actually probably been my cheapest car to maintain, yet she is the oldest car I've ever owned. Work that one out. Don't break down on me. I may have just jinxed myself, but come on. Come on, be a good girl. Trying to think what else I've had to spend on her. I've replaced the tyres, but again, that's just general maintenance. The tyres on the vehicle beforehand, they were okay in regard to tread, but they were awful. I had budget tyres on the front and Pirelli P600, P6000 tyres on the rear. They were fine when it was dry, but the moment there was a drop of rain on the tarmac, forget about it, just rear grip, gone. I've got Michelin Pilot Sport 3 tyres on Monique now, and they are fantastic. Gear changes are just superb. The pedal placement is perfect for heel and toe changes. And the handling is just spot on. Yes, a standard car will have a bit of roll and it may feel a little bit floaty, but they're still really good cars in the corners, and I think these make ideal track cars as well, because it gives you the opportunity to get into a car that's just rear wheel drive, but it hasn't got power that is going to be intimidating. I actually had a MX-5 track car, and okay, it wasn't always plain sailing, but if I had the chance to have another track car, I would probably opt for another MX-5, probably a 1.8, because the track car I had was a 1.6, which, as I mentioned earlier, felt a little bit gutless. And the great thing about the MX-5 is that they are cheap to buy, which is of course why it is featuring in this series. Why it is kicking off this series, because in my eyes, this is the most fun car you can buy for under £5 grand. And I know some people may disagree with me on that, but pound for pound, value for money, I think this is the best you can do in regard to miles per miles for this kind of budget. And not only are they cheap to pick up, but they're cheap to maintain as well. They're pretty bulletproof. The mechanical side of things, you haven't really got too much to worry about. It's the body, the chassis, you need to worry about. Yes, okay, the MX-5 has got a bit of a stereotype, and these gloves probably aren't helping matters. Sorry, Monique. But if you can look past the cliches and the stereotypes, this is a properly good car. Why do you think it is the best selling roadster of all time? Or as Jeremy Clarkson would say, the best selling roadster in the world. Yeah, you can say these are hairdressers' cars. I really don't care, because at the end of the day, I know what this car is. Any MX-5 owner will know how special this car is, what it can offer, and that simply doesn't matter. Every time I drive Monique, I just want to keep going until I run out of petrol, genuinely. Especially when the weather is this good and the roads are this good. You know what? I think I may just end this series right here, because I've peaked too soon. I really think you would struggle to find more fun at this price point. That's it. I've completed the series. Just buy an, if you want a fun car for £5 grand or under, just buy an MX-5. End of story. Now, of course, guys, I'm joking. There will hopefully be more videos coming. I've got some other cars lined up. So guys, there we have it. The first instalment of Cheap Thrills. There will hopefully be more videos coming. So I do really want to make this a fully fledged series on the channel. So I will be looking for cars. So if I'll probably put cars on my social media that I'm looking for. So if you own own one, or you know someone that does own one, please do get in touch. Alternatively, if you can think of cars you think deserve to be featured on this series, please get in touch. And again, if you own one or if you know someone who owns one, then please don't hesitate to contact me. I will argue though, I don't think you can do better than this. However, I am willing to be proved wrong. The MX-5 though, it is absolute joy. No other word for it, or phrase for it, I should say. Oh, hello. Cheeky bit of a wheel spin there. So thank you so much for watching this video. I do hope you have enjoyed it. If so, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. But until the next time guys, be sure to keep up the car obsession.